Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Welcome everyone to the morning Srimad Bhagavatam discussion class. So today we are reading from the third chapter of the third canto and verse number 3. So 3.3.3. I will share my screen. Okay. I'll read the verse. Samahuta Bhishmaka Kanyaya Ye Shriya Sarvarnena Bubhushayasham Gandharva Vritya Mishatam Swabhagam Jahre Padam Mudhni Dadhat Suparnaha. Synonyms. Samahuta, invited. Bhishmaka, of King Bhishmaka. Kanyaya, by the daughter. Ye, all those. Shriya, fortune. Savarnena, by a similar sequence. Bubhushaya, expecting to be so. Esham, of them. Gandharva, in marrying. Vritya, by such a custom. Mishatam, carrying so. Swabhagam, own share. Jahare, took away. Padam, feet. Murdhni, on the head. Dadhat, placed. Suparna, Garuda. Translation. Attracted by the beauty and fortune of Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, many great princes and kings assembled to marry her. But Lord Krishna, stepping over the other hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away nectar. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Princess Rukmi, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, was actually as attractive as fortune itself because she was as valuable as gold, both in color and in value. She, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the property of the Supreme Lord. Rukmini was actually meant for Lord Krishna. But Shishupal was selected as her bridegroom by Rukmini's elder brother, although King Bhishmaka wanted his daughter to be married to Krishna. Rukmini invited Krishna to take her away from the clutches of Shishupal. So when the bridegroom Shishupal came there with his party with the desire to marry Rukmini, Krishna all of a sudden swept her from the scene, stepping over the heads of all the princes there, just as Garuda carried away nectar from the hands of the demons. This incident will be clearly explained in the 10th canto. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Swapadandikam. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Okay, so I will start. It's a small verse and a small purport, but this is in reference to Krishna. The story behind this, or the pastime, is that Krishna was in Mathura and Jarasandha had been attacking Krishna. So he attacked Krishna when he was in Mathura 17 times. And when he was attacking Krishna, every single time Krishna would defeat Jarasandha's armies. And still Jarasandha was very resolute, and he would continue to come and attack Krishna, his kingdom in Mathura. So on the 18th attack, Krishna left Mathura, and the pastime is mentioned in the 10th canto, as Srila Prabhupada mentions here in the purport. And him and Lord Balram, they both jumped off the mountain and they went and established their kingdom in Dwarka. And then Parikshit Maharaj, Shukadev Goswami, as he's describing this to Parikshit Maharaj asked a question. And then to that answer, then Shukadev Goswami answered by narrating the story of how Krishna married Rukmini, who is none other than Lakshmi Devi. So for this, in this pastime, Krishna, when he is in Dwarka, the story of Rukmini is that she is the daughter of King Bhishmaka, and as Prabhupada mentions here, she was actually as attractive as fortune. So she was actually goddess of fortune, and she was as valuable as gold, both in color and in value. Since the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the property of the Supreme Lord, Rukmini was actually meant for Lord Krishna. So being the goddess of fortune, she was meant to be with Krishna. But Rukmini's brother, Rukmi, had a plan to marry her to Shishupal. And we see that Shishupal was friends with Jarasandha, Dantavarka, Paundraka, etc. All of them similar mindset. And as we say, birds of similar feather flock together. So Shishupal being friend with Jarasandha and Paundraka, Dantavarka, so they were planning to be at the marriage ceremony. But her father, and her father's name is Bhishmaka, so he actually wanted Rukmini to marry Krishna. So he was a pious king, and he understood. But because Rukmi, the brother of Rukmini, was very adamant and powerful, he didn't say much. Now, and then Rukmini writes, she also in her mind, she had accepted Krishna and wanted to marry Krishna. So she had written a letter. So this is also, we can, if people think that in the Vedic culture, but we can see that in the Vedic culture, the girls would pick their own husband or their own partner. And here also, she decided that she wanted to marry Krishna. And how did she know Krishna? So she had not met Krishna, she had not seen Krishna. So this is also a very important thing for us, that she had heard about Krishna, and only by hearing about Krishna, she had understood Krishna. So by hearing about Krishna, she had developed an attachment or attraction to Krishna. And that's all written in the 10th canto. I was quickly trying to read to the morning. That by simply hearing about him, she had developed an attraction for Krishna, and she wrote a letter. And she had a very trusted Brahmana. She gave the letter to the Brahmana and asked the Brahmana that please deliver this letter to Krishna. And she revealed her heart also to the Brahmana, what was in the letter. The Brahmana, being understanding the confidentiality of this, he went to Krishna and delivered, and Krishna took it, and Brahmana delivered the message also. And Krishna told him that he accepted the proposal. Now, back in the kingdom, the marriage ceremony is coming, and the day was approaching fast, and Rukmini had not heard from Krishna. So she was obviously getting anxious. She had written a letter to Krishna, and there was no message yet. And the day of the marriage had all arrived. So we can understand she was going through this anxiety, and having written such a letter, she was, it's very obvious that she would be thinking, and it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam also, will he accept my proposal? Will he think it decent enough? Will he think that I am some kind of not so just chaste girl? So things like these type of thought processes were going in her mind. And that's when, in the morning, when on the day of her marriage, she saw the Brahmana, and the Brahmana came and gave her the message that Krishna has accepted and he will come and take you. So that relieved her completely. And then she, as part of the tradition for the marriage, she was supposed to visit the Durga temple to pray. So that was the tradition and the culture. So she went to the temple to pray, and she was accompanied by many of her friends and soldiers, king's soldiers, many soldiers. So they were all going, and they went to the temple. And it is mentioned that while she was going, the other kings who had assembled, like Shishupal and Jarasandh and other Kshatriya kings, they got an external glimpse of her, meaning like she had not shown her face to anyone. She had covered herself, but they got an external glimpse, and from that the beauty attracted them so much. And it's mentioned that Krishna had also come, and he had been received by the king Bhishmaka, and he had received and done all the formalities, everything, making sure he was comfortable. And when Rukmini saw Krishna in also, she showed her face only to him, and only Krishna could see her. She goes to the temple, and then as she is there, Krishna comes from nowhere, picks her up, and takes her in his chariot. The horses are also, the names of the horses are also mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. The 4 powerful horses, and they were very fast. And it happened so fast that all the kings, even though they were prepared, they were kind of contemplating, they were kind of thinking, or they were suspecting that Krishna might do this. Krishna might come and try to kidnap Rukmini. So they were prepared to fight a battle, but this happened so fast that they were taken by surprise, and Krishna had left, and so they all went after him. So the battle, the kings who had come, they had come prepared with full-fledged army. And this was a different kind of army, in the sense that it was a moving fight, moving war. Like, it's not like, okay, one king comes and fights the war, and the king is in his kingdom, inside the forts and everything. Here Krishna is moving fast in his chariot, the armies are going behind him, and a battle is being fought. Lord Balram has also come. So when the Brahmana had come and Krishna had accepted the proposal, and Krishna had decided to leave, he did not tell anyone, but Lord Balram had come to know that Krishna has left and he came to know the reason why he left, and he was also concerned, so he also had immediately left to help his brother. And so Lord Balram was also there, and they both fought the armies coming. Now these armies were big, but they were able to still defeat all of them. So gradually the other kings like Jarasandh and Shishupal and others, they slowly retracted that, yes, okay, no use fighting. So they stopped chasing, and then they had gone back. But one of them, Rukmini's brother, Rukmi, had not given up. And he was chasing Krishna, and he had taken a vow that I will not return to the kingdom until I arrest Krishna and bring back my sister Rukmini back to the kingdom. So they were fighting, and obviously Rukmi was no match for Krishna, and Krishna easily defeated him. And at one point, he was about to kill him. So he had taken out his weapon, and Krishna was about to kill him. And Rukmini, being a very concerned girl, and she was very compassionate for her brother and everyone, so she pleaded with Krishna, saying that please don't, after all, he's my brother. So seeing the anxiety of Rukmini, Krishna spared Rukmi. But in the process of sparing, what he had done was he had insulted him. He shaved off the hairs of the King Rukmi or Prince Rukmi by unevenly shaving him. Like he left patches. We see the devotees or brahmanas have shikhas. So here Rukmi had multiple shikhas. So there were patches of hair on his head, and by doing so, he had insulted him. And it is said that for a Kshatriya, insult is worse than death. So Krishna had killed him, but not killed him. So by doing this, he had insulted him. And Rukmi, because he was a Kshatriya and he had taken this vow to not return back to his kingdom. And obviously, he had not defeated Krishna, and he was not bringing back Rukmini to the kingdom. So he stayed in that same place, and near that place he had set up his own kingdom, and he stayed there. He did not return back to the kingdom. So here we see that Prabhupada, the verse is referring to a story of Garuda, but Lord Krishna, stepping over the other hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away nectar. I was trying to find the reference or this particular story, but I did not have much time to look into it. But what I found is in the same canto, third canto, there is, in the 19th chapter, there is a reference, and I will read that. I'll also share my screen. In the third canto, 19th chapter, the translation says, "Hurled by the mighty demon with all his strength, the flying trident shone brightly in the sky. The personality of Godhead, however, tore it to pieces with his discus Sudarshana, which had a sharp-edged rim, even as Indra cut off a wing of Garuda." So in purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, the context of the reference given herein regarding Garuda and Indra is this. Once upon a time, Garuda, the carrier of the Lord, snatched away a nectar pot from the hands of the demigods in heaven in order to liberate his mother, Vinata, from the clutches of his stepmother, Kadru, the mother of the serpents. On learning of this, Indra, the king of heaven, hurled his thunderbolt against Garuda. With a view to respect the infallibility of Indra's weapon, Garuda, though otherwise invincible, being the Lord's own mount, dropped one of his wings, which was shattered to pieces by the thunderbolt. The inhabitants of higher planets are so sensible that even in the process of fighting, they observe the preliminary rules and regulations of gentleness. In this case, Garuda wanted to show respect for Indra. Since he knew that Indra's weapon must destroy something, he offered his wing. So this story of Garuda is there, where his mother is captured by the queen or the mother of the serpents, Kadru, who is also his stepmother. I think Kashyapa's another wife. And she had demanded that she be given the nectar to her. And Garuda, wanting to save his mother, Vinata, from Kadru, he had snatched away the nectar from the demigods. And this nectar is supposed to be only for the demigods. And when he took it, Indra pleaded with him and said that, why are you taking it? This is not meant for others. And he said that, don't worry, I will put it on the ground and then you can take it, but I have to do this. And in that process, Indra had sent his thunderbolt as mentioned, and Garuda had wanting to respect Indra's weapon, he dropped one of his feathers, and the weapon destroyed that feather. And then when he went there, he kept the pot in front of Kadru and said that you can drink this nectar now. I have brought it. Please release my mother, Vinata. But he said that this is an auspicious and very pure nectar. You should take your bath before drinking it. So she went to take the bath, and then that's when Indra came and took away the nectar. So, and he had freed his mother also in the process. So that is the story that was mentioned, referred in this purport. Another point, I think we are out of time. So we have only a couple minutes left. So one point very quickly is I'll read a few verses in the first canto from the verse number 36, 111, chapter 11, verse number 36. 36. Although the queen's beautiful smiles and fruitive glances were all spotless and exciting, and although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give his bow in frustration, and although even the tolerant Shiva could fall victim to them, still, despite all the magical feats and attraction, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord. 37. The common materialistic conditioned souls speculate that the Lord is one of them. Out of their ignorance, they think that the Lord is affected by matter, although he is unattached. 38. This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. 39. The simple and delicate women truly thought that Lord Krishna, their beloved husband, followed them and was dominated by them. They were unaware of the extent of the glories of their husband, as the atheists are unaware of him as the supreme controller. So I wanted to quickly bring this context out that Krishna, for ordinary people, it may seem that Krishna's behavior in kidnapping and this pastime is a lustful behavior, but Krishna, being the supreme personality of Godhead, is not affected by these attractions that we in the material world feel. The attraction that we feel in the material world is more of a material attraction affected by different releases of chemical components, and the studies have shown the attraction between male and female, but this is not that. This is Krishna's transcendental pastime. So having said that, I wanted to bring out more, but I have a hard stop now, so I'll stop here. And quickly, if there is some questions, realization, we can discuss in 1 or 2 minutes. Otherwise, we'll stop here.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for describing it nicely. Many beautiful inspirations, but one thing you mentioned, just by hearing how Rukmini was able to repose her faith and that attachment. And also I was thinking, she doesn't even know if he's going to accept, if he's going to come or not, in spite of no, information of the timing or what the response. She's still, eager and attached to Krishna. So somehow that was very inspiring in our own journey, whether, sometimes things may go up and down, but that's very inspiring. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mother. It was also very inspiring for me that we are also hearing about Krishna, and we are asked to know Krishna by hearing about him. So yes, thank you. Thank you, devotees. We'll stop here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Have a good rest of the day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.